up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl SkottyChelsea. So today, y'all, I am gonna be showing you how I made this 5x5 closure wig for my friend Jamila here. This is gonna be the start of a wig series on my channel, so make sure you are subscribed so that you can see all the details on this the making of the wig, the installation, and the customization. So like I said, make sure you guys are subscribed so that you can see all of those videos. So we're going to be starting with the BW2 extra strength powder and a 20 volume developer. I'm going to be mixing that up and get that going. Make sure that it's a thick consistency. Jamila gave me 3 bundles, which was a 18, 16, and 14, and also a 5x5 closure. So I'm going to be starting with the closure because we're going to be bleaching these black dots. So I am not really good with this step, y'all. I'm just showing you just to show you that I did it. But if you want to see detailed videos on how to bleach your knots, I do recommend watching a specific video on that. No, I do not use this spoon for anything else in the house. It literally stays in my bathroom with my hair stuff because, girl, I could not find a freaking butter knife to save my life. But this is how I went ahead and just bleached the knots. Excuse my ashiness, y'all. You know you gotta wash everything 50,000 times during this time, but I'm going to be showing you all of my supplies. I have a dome cap wig. I have a little clamp, some little scissors, my Upart needles. I also have some pins and also some thread. And I got all of these things from my local beauty store, so you can definitely pick up all of these items for little of nothing. The prices were literally, everything was probably under $5. So I'm going to be going ahead and filling up my needles with some thread. I probably did about 4 needles just to make sure that I didn't have to keep stopping. Oh, girl, please excuse the ashiness on these elbows. So we're going to be going ahead and putting our dome cap onto our mannequin head, making sure that those 2 lines are centered towards the front. I'm going to be taking my closure, and as you see, I'm pulling it down 1/2 inch before the dome cap, and I'm going to start pinning that down to hold it in place. And I'll tell you guys exactly why I pulled it a little lower than the cap in the next video. So make sure you are subscribed so that you can get the details on that. But you want to make sure that your closure is very flat on the dome cap, so you can use the pins to make sure everything is laid flat on there as you need it to be. I am going to go ahead and tie up the hair just to keep it out of the way, but you also want to go ahead and pull that back down. This is why you use the clamps, to make sure that the closure is still flat on the cap. So we're going to start with the back of the closure to basically sew it down to the cap. You want to be careful and make sure that you don't pick up the mannequin head, because you do not want your wig to be stuck to the darn mannequin head. So I'm showing you my technique here. I am going into the back of the closure, going through the cap, bringing that needle upwards, and then I'm going to take the thread and swoop it around that needle one good time and pull the needle through. Make sure that it comes really nice, neat, and tight, and pull. And then you just do that method all around this closure. You can also loop the thread around the needle twice or 3 times if you want. It's just up to you. I just started off by doing 1, but you'll see later on in the video that I did start doing 2 loops around and 3 loops around when I felt it was needed. So also just make sure that you are taking your pins out as you are going. The pins are just to hold everything in place until you get right there to that part. So it should look like this, really nice, neat, and flat. If it doesn't, it's really okay, just as long as you cover up the threads and stuff like that with the hair really nice and neatly. And of course, you're going to go all the way down the sides of this closure, and when you get to the end, you're going to make sure you do a couple of knots, y'all. You want to make sure that you really making sure that this is tight, because you do not want your closure to come loose. That is the base of your wig. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that thread off, and then I'm going to do another loop just to make sure that it is all secured, and then I'll cut that little piece off also. Then I'm gonna go and start at the back of the wig. I have an 18, 16, and 14-inch bundle. I'm gonna start with the 18-inch because it is the longest. And the method I like to use, of course, we're gonna go ahead and unravel everything. Make sure that you unravel the hair, but we're still gonna keep this hair like double wept, if that makes sense to y'all. Like, you see how it's double. Yeah, we're gonna keep it like that. So the method I use is I like to go from ear to ear first. So I start over here and then I start over there. To me, it doesn't really matter if you start at the very bottom of the dome cap or if you start the inch before. I like to just start an inch above the bottom of the cap. It's really no reason why, but it's really up to you how you want to do that. But I like to start at this point. And I'm just going ahead and pinning everything up before I get started with sewing. So when you are starting, you want to go ahead and dig into that cap with your needle, but make sure you do not get the elastic band, because if you do pull on that elastic band, that is going to make your wig tight. And girl, we don't have time for no tight wigs, because they give you headaches, and I don't have time to be looking cute with a headache. Okay, I like to be cute and comfortable. So make sure you are not getting that elastic band, but going through that first part a couple times. I like to go on that first part of the track. I like to sew it down about 3 times before I start sewing all the way to the opposite side. So as you see, I am all the way on the other end now, and I am securing the end of this part. And then I'm just gonna go ahead, once I know that it's tight, I'm gonna fold it over and work my way back to the other side. So anytime that I am starting over and folding a piece of track, I like to put my thumb right there to press it up against the cap and really make sure that I am getting it really close and tight, because these folded over methods does have bulkiness to it. So you want to make sure that you are pressing it down and tying it tight so that it can lay as flat as possible. And then you go ahead and just start sewing all the way to the other side. And y'all remember, no wig is perfect. No person is perfect. So if you don't get it right on your first time, trust me, it is okay. This is not my first wig and I still make mistakes. So just make sure that it is flat. Make sure that your knots are tight and that it won't come loose. And everything else, the hair will really cover up. So don't be ashamed or mad if you mess up. Just keep going and making sure that it is try to make sure that it is neat and flat as possible. So you're gonna come to a part where you are at the end of your first bundle or second bundle or whatever, and it is gonna be uneven. That is totally fine. All you have to do is just put a pin in it, and we're gonna go ahead and cut off that extra thread that we have right there. We're gonna put a knot in that, and we'll start with our second bundle, which is our 16-inch. So I'm just going ahead and putting another pin here. I'm gonna take out that pin, and I'm basically just gonna add in my second bundle. And yes, it is still double webbed, and we're just gonna lay that right on top, put a pin in it, and we're gonna start to sew those pieces together as if it was never apart. And just like I said about mistakes, look at that. It is not evenly together, but who's gonna notice that once all of the hair is on top of this? As long as it is tight and secure, it really does not matter how any of this looks, y'all. And unless you are selling wigs and being critiqued on your webs and how you sew and stuff like that, none of that even matters. So as you see, I'm just going through the motions again, flipping over and going back to the other side. So the only time we're going to be cutting the tracks is when we get to the closure. Now that we are connected to the closure, I want my tracks to lay flat next to the closure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew one piece of these tracks at a time, and I'm going to sew that one down next to the closure, and then I'm going to sew the other one on top of it, not on top to where it's like bunching on top of each other, but right above it, if that makes sense. And that is going to allow both of these to lay flat next to the closure, and it's going to allow the closure hair to lay on top of it nice, neat, and flat. Now that I am up to the closure now, I am only going to be using one track at a time. Now we was doing double, but now I'm going to be doing one because I am up close to the closure. I want everything to start laying as flat as possible. So if you run into this issue where you have a bit of a gap, what you can do is, if you have a little piece of extra hair laying around that you maybe have cut off earlier or whatever, you can use that hair to cover up that spot. Because first of all, we spent our money on this hair. We want to use as much of it as possible, and we also do not want to have any gaps, because when the wind blows, girl, you're going to be able to see that cap. So you want to put as much hair down on the cap as possible, just to make sure that you don't have any like gaps or spots missing. And then once you have that down, you can go ahead and flip that hair on top of it, and it's as if you never had a gap at all. And as you can see on the sides of my closure, I am not sewing the track with the closure. I'm just sewing it next to it. And the reason being is because I feel like if I try to connect the side of a track and the closure, it'll start bunching up and it'll be bulky and won't allow the closure hair to lay on top of it nice and neatly. So I do not connect the closure and the track together on the sides. Now we are on to the last bundle, which is the 14-inch, and with this I am going to be laying the tracks right above one another as close as possible, because I want to use as much of this bundle as possible. I want to try to use all of the hair, so I'm going to start sewing them close above one another as possible, so that I don't have any hair left over as I make my way to the end of making this wig. So as you get to the top of the wig, it should start looking like a U-part, and just use your discretion on how much hair you have left to know if you still want to have the tracks super close, so if you want to start spacing them out. So I only have these 2 pieces left, and I'm just going to show you how I decided to mold them. So I just took one of the pieces because they it actually just laid on there perfectly, and I went ahead and just sewed that one down. And so for the last piece, I just went ahead and decided to connect it with the closure. So as you see, I am digging in the very back of that closure and then into that last piece of track. This is going to connect the two to make them one even piece of track, I guess. And this is gonna help the hair to lay down over the rest of the hair very evenly and neatly and flat. So you want to make sure that the hair is not laying on top of the closure, but just coming to it as if it's just meeting up. As for the other piece of the hair that I am about to cut off right here, you can go and add that back to the wig in some part, or you can use it for a different wig at a later time. That is totally up to you. But that is basically it for how to make a 5x5 closure wig. You'll see that the hair is going to lay over these tracks so smooth and neatly that you won't even be able to see the tracks. If you guys want to see how I customize this wig and how I apply it to my friend's head, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you can see the rest of this wig series. And make sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.